I thought it'd be fun to read some of Patrick Rothfuss's favorite books and report back to you guys. Now, I'm not reading all his favorite books because that'd be crazy. We're just reading 3, and if you don't know, Patrick Rothfuss is a fantasy author known for his books, and he is in progress with his trilogy, Name of the Wind. Actually, that's probably not the name of the series, but it's the name of the first book. It's fine. Google exists, use it. So today I'm going to just give an introduction to the books I'm reading, what I know about them, and then we'll just get into it. I'll give you my thoughts along the way, and then an overall wrap up of the books, as well as what I think about Pat Rothfuss liking them. He is a writer, so I'm intrigued to see what he personally likes to read. First, The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Spiegel. This is a classic that I've actually been meaning to read in the fantasy genre. Not too big, which I appreciate. And it says, even on the front of this one of the world's most beloved fantasies. So I don't know much about it. I presume there's a unicorn. I would be really disappointed if there's no unicorn. And on the back it talks about a quest. There's a magician called Smindrick. And I don't know, it just seems like it could be a fun time. We'll see, we'll see. It's a bit of an older book, so I don't know. Hopefully it'll keep my interest. Next we have Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. Another OG classic that I've been meaning to read and keep putting off. Thank you, Pat, for getting me to finally read the things. Dope little coveroni that for whatever reason is covered by Ray Bradbury's name, but it's like a horse, but then like there's this like green neon glow and then leads to like skeleton horse face. I read the summary ages ago. What's this book about? There's a carnival. So I get a very like spooky version of like Night Circus vibes from it, but obviously this came way before Night Circus. It seems about like coming of age, young boys, that sort of thing. So give it a gander. Even if I don't like it, it's a good check off the classics list. And then last, we have one that I've never heard of called Gun with Occasional Music by Jonathan Lethem. Already dope cover. I know nothing about it, but you've got that typical detective noir vibe going on, and then you immediately have like a kangaroo standing with like a suit and a drink, and then a young kid. Oh my god, I feel like you're not going to be able to even see this. A young kid cyborg thing. I'm intrigued. I don't read a lot of noir, and I definitely don't know a whole lot of sci-fi noir. I'm all up for a good mashup. I'm not a huge mystery noir fan, but maybe if there's enough sci-fi elements, I could be down. Those are the 3 books. Now it's time for me to read them. Okay. We're only on page 15, folks, and it was interesting, it was good, like you had that strong noir voice, and you know, with the sprinkling in of this like futuristic world with sci-fi elements, but then it said something so unnecessary, and I'm like, this is so strange. I don't know what's going to be weirder, if they never mention this again, or if this becomes related to the plot somehow. So there's all these different new experiments and technologies, right? You have these evolved therapy animals and whatever, but so in classic noir style, the detective can't have a good relationship with women because women. But the reason is he was in love with this lady. They did what was supposed to be a temporary operation to switch nerve endings so you can feel what it feels like to be a man if you're a woman, and feels like to be a woman if you're a man. So then she disappeared, so the operation couldn't be reversed. But I'm so confused because like he's not feeling her sensations. It's not like she's having sex and he like feels it. It's just like he's got vagina nerve endings or something. He still has a working penis, but like everything feels like, how does any of that work? I'm so confused. I don't see the purpose of this being a thing. Why? yeah, stay tuned to figure out if we understand why his genitalia nerve endings are weird for some reason. All right, later. Okay, so we're on page 128. This dude's weird genitalia has raised its ugly head again. This is not what I thought I'd be reading. It's not what I thought I'd be talking to you guys about. I'm not a prude, but it's weird. So, he's kissing this chick, as you do, as a private eye. Some things never change. So, like, they're really close together, making out, and then this is what's said. I felt something hard between our stomachs, like a sausage or screwdriver, trapped absurdly between our bodies. And for a brief moment, I thought she was carrying a gun. Then I realized it was my penis. But, like, just because your nerve endings are now, like, lady nerve endings, you should, like, that's like a different disorder entirely, where, like, your body parts don't feel like your body parts. Like, that's... Also, I'm so confused, because, fun fact, if you didn't know this, the vajayjay actually has more nerve endings than penises, so he should be feeling more sensation. He should, like... It doesn't make any sense. And then later goes on to be like, his penis is like insensate, but still physically present and fully aroused. All he feels is the usual feminine tickle. Like a meshing of soft, long, inactive gears. I'm so confused. And I don't understand how this operation works. Like, did they just not extend the nerve endings to his penis? But then, like, his penis wouldn't be able to be stimulated in the same way. I am thinking too much about this fictional man's penis. But, like, none of this makes sense. But why? Like, he could have been, like, upset about women in just an ordinary, not sci-fi way. I don't think we needed this elaborate sci-fi penis shenanigans. I don't think that was what was lacking from the sci-fi noir genre. Just saying. Anyway, back to the book. I'm a little worried about this author. Like, I'm just... Like, there's such good elements to this book, but it keeps getting robbed of the spotlight by this weird detour into the private eye's private eye, if you know what I mean. So, he ends up having the sex with another lady, different lady than on page 128. Let's see. Finally has sex because he's been putting it off because, you know, he's got a wonky penis. God. What do I just, this video is just taking such a turn. And so it ends up saying, I wanted Catherine. I wanted her with everything I had, except I didn't have it anymore. What I had to offer, or should have had to offer, was missing. And I'm not talking about my penis. Surprise, because he's always talking about his penis. I wanted Catherine, but I wanted to take her with a different self. A self that wasn't available. The thing I wanted wasn't lost in the past at all, and it never had been. It was lost in the future. A self I should have been, but wasn't. A thread I let go of in myself, thinking I could live without it, not seeing what it meant. I still don't know what that means. I read that like 3 times. Anyway, my dude has a hard thinking session. They finish up. She, like, goes to bed. He can't sleep, so he decides to go to the bathroom and look in the mirror at his glistening penis. And I'm not making this up. It literally is like, I disentangled myself and went to the bathroom and spent a while looking in the mirror. My penis was glistening, and I didn't wipe it off. Ew, like, I'm sorry, but I needed to share that with someone. Like, glistening. Ugh, out of all the words to use. And then, like, you had to share that you were like, yeah, that gunk staying on. That's part of the decor now. Like, why? And then he like goes back over to the bed and he's just like, I want to look at her naked body somewhere. So he just like lifts up the sheets and goes, nice. I think this author needs help. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm not making this up, guys. Like, again, like, it's kind of a bummer because there's some really interesting ideas in here. And if you like noir, if you like sci-fi, I think there's some like really nifty ideas in here. But like, there's such a bad, like, glaringly bad idea that just pops up randomly and it's just, I don't know. It's just weird. It kind of ruins the vibe that the rest of the book is trying to give. So, all right, back to it. We're back. I finished good old Gun with Occasional Music by Jonathan Lethem. So this is I think it was, when did the copyright come out? Yeah, the copyright's 1994, birthday year. So this is a sci-fi noir written in the 1990s. It's a really mixed bag, really mixed review in the sense that, like, I think it's got a very interesting vision and like world building. You have this world where through like evolved therapy, there's just a bunch of like smart animals running around in like suits and drinking whiskey and having jobs and like talking. Already there, you have to have like a good suspension of disbelief. You just have to roll with it. Like, how? Yeah, you just gotta turn your brain off on that. It doesn't answer how. In the end, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of set dressing. It's sci-fi noir. Just roll with it. And that was fun. I could do that. I'll also say it's always a good time reading old sci-fi to see like what they think would change versus what wouldn't. So like, it's in the future. I don't know if it ever gives a specific, like, says what point in the future it is, but definitely futuristic. And they still have like phone booths and like phone directories, and I'm like, that's adorable. Like you got like talking kangaroos, but you can't imagine like a portable phone. And then you also have what's called baby heads in this world, which is essentially like no one wants to like deal with toddlers. So they like hook up a bunch of like freaking tech and implants into these like small children so that they're able to manage themselves and I guess like wipe their butts or whatever and drink booze. I don't get how that works, but whatever. It was an interesting vibe. And then there's all these different like drugs that are just totally illegal that everyone takes. And so you have like Forget All, which makes you forget things you don't like. Accept All, which I think just gives you kind of a warm fuzzy feeling, makes everything a little bit easier to just tolerate and deal with. And that plays nicely into not only the world building, but also the plot and like the plot twist, which was kind of cool. As you probably know already now from my previous commentary, it's got a really weird subplot. I don't even know what you'd call, like a weird fixation on this like gender nerve ending swap thingy that didn't need to happen at all. It was completely irrelevant to the plot, by the way. So that's a thing. If that was scrapped, I could recommend this book so much better. Like, that's my big problem, and it's what makes me most worried about this book. The second, much smaller thing is it like has two weird lines that makes people gay, and it's kind of not okay. The first is that there's like this antagonist at the office, which is kind of like Big Brother, big government kind of thing. And awful dude punches the main character. It's constantly making things harder and being not understanding what's going on and being in the way. And then like 2/3 of the way through the book, they're like, yeah, he gives me a hard time because he's gay. And I'm like, none of that was foreshadowed and none of it was necessary. And I'm like, so he's a dick because he's gay? And he likes you, but you don't like him? Whatever. And then the second thing is there's like this doctor, and it's implied that like he's like together with a sheep, and then like later on he's with a dude, and like the guy makes a comment being like, I guess it's not much of a jump from sheep to men. And I'm like, why? It just seems bigoted for no reason. And they're just two lines that should have been scrapped. But anyway, What does it say about Pat Rothfuss? I think it's that he's interested in genre, clearly two different genres, mashups, like new ideas. I'm scared about what else I might say about him, but I'll say more once I've read the other two books and I have a better sense of what the common thread might be here. I don't regret reading it. I just wish I had some forgetterall for the weird gender nerve ending shit. Why, hello there. Don't mind the hair. This is reality. It's funny because I was getting really cranky yesterday and I didn't know why. And I was just like, you know, that like under the surface, like grumpiness, and you don't, just something's just not right. And then I realized I just really didn't want to keep reading this book. I had put, you know, I made these rules, like I'm gonna read 3 books by whoever, and I'm on like page 112 and I just don't want to read anymore. And then I remembered I'm supposed to be doing this for fun. I'm getting paid $0 to do this, so I'm just gonna not read this anymore. And it felt like such a weight off my shoulders. And I want to be clear, it's not a bad book, but if I'm not enjoying something, I just become a very cranky 3-year-old. I'm just like, I don't wanna. It's interesting because I like pretty prose, but I feel like the prose really got in the way of the story. And Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury, there were times where I had to reread sentences because the meaning kind of got lost in the like the prose, it almost bled into purple prose at times. Also, the sentences were so like flashy, like trying to draw attention by like how pretty they were, that I think it undercut some of the like mystery or horror elements that the book was trying to do. Also, I didn't care. I just didn't care. So it's not a horrible book by any means, but I got a third of the way through and I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore. Yeah, it's a Monday. The clouds are here because it's November and I want to go to a cafe and I'm gonna have a good time and I'm not gonna think about this book at all. Later. Hello. So I have finished The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. And I liked it. I thought it was a good one. I'm glad I can finally check that off the classics list. I can definitely see why this is a book that Pat Rothfuss enjoys. I think he gets a lot of inspiration and vibe from this book. A sad, yearning, forlorn atmosphere and narrative style to it. There's like songs and rhymes and riddles in this book, and if you've read The Name of the Wind by Pat Rothfuss, like it's chock full of that. You have great detail in the writing. You have these admirable but also kind of pitiful characters. I will say that the ending is very traditional to classics and folklore. And what I mean by that is like, it's not as triumphant as a lot of fantasy stories today can be that are in the like popular mainstream book talk, if you will. So know that going in, but I really enjoyed this. This was a good one. So yes, success. A book I liked. What a journey. Okay, so I'll say more in my final wrap up. Howdy. It's been a minute because per usual. It takes forever with these reading videos, but new bookshelf. Longer hair, new bookshelf. Anywho, so Pat Rothfuss's favorite books and what they say about him. To recap, we had Gun with Occasional Music, Wicked This Way Comes, and The Last Unicorn. Gun with Occasional Music, I don't know if I'll ever completely recover from it. It was wild. But what does it say about Pat Rothfuss? I think it's that he's not afraid to experiment in his reading and thus in his writing, exploring new mashups of genre and flawed characters, to be sure. All 3 of the central characters in these 3 books are boys or men. So you have the private eye in Gun with Occasional Music, you have the 2 young boys in Wicked This Way Comes, and even though technically the unicorn is the central character of The Last Unicorn, the wizard magician dude, I almost wanted to call him Smirnoff, that's not his name, but whatever, that guy plays an instrumental part, and he's the one that like changes and grows and has to really grapple with things in the course of the book. So that is an ongoing thread between the 3, and I would say also Pat Rothfuss's work, his central characters are men that are grappling with the world and good and evil and making their way and their innate abilities and things like that. And then Wicked This Way Comes, I didn't finish, I only got a third of the way through, but once more you see this detail, this word by word detail, and that's obvious for anyone who knows anything about Pat Rothfuss as an author. It was kind of cool to see where he maybe got inspo for that. And then third, Last Unicorn, we have a book that it's mystical and grand in nature. You have this unicorn that's on a journey to find out what happened to the other unicorns. Am I the last one left? Ends up having some other people come along on the journey. And you have people that doubt themselves. You have rumors, you have gossip, you have curses, you have songs and folklore and legends and rhymes and riddles. And yeah, that's a big part of Name of the Wind. There is a lot of riddles and rhymes, and music plays a big part. Unfortunately, I don't know if I could recommend 2 out of the 3. The Last Unicorn was good, but I can see it not being everyone's cup of tea. So for longtime fans of the fantasy genre, I think it's definitely worth picking up. It's a really cool classic. But yeah, so Pat Rothfuss, interesting guy, experimental person, cares very much about the craft of writing. Gun with Occasional Music, you got me a bit worried, my dude. Might want to see a counselor about that. And yeah, this was such a wild, oh my god, this is my second one, and the first one went pretty well, like, but yeah, this is a weird challenge. Let me know if there's a particular person you want me to do next, and I'm a mood reader, so maybe I'll listen, maybe I won't, but I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, especially if you read any of these 3 books. What stood out to you? And like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.